Self-prioritization is often misunderstood. Many people hear the phrase "put yourself first" and immediately think it means neglecting others or acting without care. But when we look closely, we find that true self-prioritization is not about pushing people away or refusing to help. It is about strengthening the foundation from which you live, move, think, and serve. Without that foundation, every responsibility becomes heavier, every relationship becomes strained, and every challenge becomes more difficult to face. Putting yourself first is not selfishness, it is preparation. When you choose to prioritize yourself, you begin by acknowledging that your physical energy, your mental clarity, your emotional balance, and your spiritual alignment are the roots of everything you do. Just as a house cannot stand firmly on weak ground, a person cannot stand strongly in life without inner stability. Self-prioritization is the process of cultivating that stability every day. It is a discipline, a practice that demands consistency, reflection, and intentional action. Self-prioritization means paying attention to what strengthens you and what weakens you. It requires you to observe your thoughts, your patterns, your triggers, and your routines. For example, waking up and immediately consuming negativity, whether through news, messages, or comparison, weakens your mind before the day even begins. The discipline of self-prioritization teaches you to protect your mental space by choosing what you allow in. You learn to create time for practices that nourish you: meditation, mindful breathing, movement, stillness, journaling, or simply silence. These actions are not luxuries. They are the oxygen for your inner world. Another part of this discipline is understanding the value of your energy. And every request deserves your yes. Not every person deserves access to your emotional space. Not every opportunity deserves your time. When you say yes to everything, you say yes to exhaustion, confusion, and imbalance. But when you learn to prioritize your needs, you begin to direct your energy toward what truly matters. You learn that saying no is not an act of rejection, it is an act of protection. It is a way of preserving the strength needed to fulfill your responsibilities with clarity and presence. Self-prioritization also involves taking accountability for your growth. It means asking yourself honest questions. What habits are holding me back? What environments drain my motivation? What beliefs limit my progress? This level of self-reflection is not always comfortable. It exposes truths that are easy to avoid. But discipline grows when you choose honesty over comfort. Through this honesty, you become aware of how much of your life is shaped by routine, repetition, and automatic behavior. Self-prioritization allows you to break these cycles and create new, intentional patterns. When you put yourself first, you also recognize the importance of self-respect. You begin to treat yourself with the same care and value that you often give to others. This includes respecting your time, your body, your boundaries, and your personal goals. You stop apologizing for taking time to rest. You stop feeling guilty for choosing peace over unnecessary conflict. You stop lowering your standards to fit into places where you do not feel valued. You learn that self-prioritization is a commitment to living in alignment with your worth. One of the most misunderstood aspects of self-prioritization is its connection to serving others. People who take care of themselves are not abandoning their loved ones. They are equipping themselves to show up with more patience, more strength, and more presence. A tired mind cannot listen deeply. A stressed heart cannot give compassion. An exhausted body cannot support others. When you prioritize your well-being, you elevate the quality of the energy you bring into the lives of the people around you. You become more grounded, more stable, and more capable. This is why self-prioritization is not selfish. It is service from a place of strength rather than depletion. Self-prioritization also requires discipline in setting boundaries. Boundaries are not walls, they are lines of clarity. They define what you allow into your life and what you protect yourself from. They help you maintain emotional and mental balance. Without boundaries, people may pull you in every direction. leaving you feeling overwhelmed and disconnected from yourself. The discipline of self-prioritization teaches you to communicate your limits clearly, to protect your peace without guilt, and to choose relationships that respect your space. Another essential aspect of this discipline is consistency. You cannot prioritize yourself once and expect lasting transformation. Just like physical training or mental sharpening, inner strength requires continuous effort. Some days you will feel motivated, on others you will rely on discipline alone. But each day you choose yourself, even in a small way, you are reinforcing your foundation. Over time, this foundation becomes unshakable. Putting yourself first also means understanding that you are responsible for your own healing. No one else can fix what is unresolved within you. Others may support you, but the journey inward is yours alone. Healing requires patience, courage, and vulnerability. It requires confronting past experiences, releasing emotional patterns, and forgiving both yourself and others. This process is deeply personal, but it strengthens your inner world in ways that radiate outward into every area of your life. When you choose to put yourself first, you also choose growth. Growth is not always comfortable. It demands discipline, sacrifice, and a willingness to transform. But by prioritizing your needs, your well-being, and your path, you create the conditions for meaningful progress. You begin living with clarity instead of confusion, strength instead of weakness, and intention instead of automatic repetition. In the end, self-prioritization is the act of building a foundation strong enough to support not only your own journey but also the people around you. When you stand tall, others can lean on you. When your mind is clear, you can guide others. When your heart is steady, you can offer compassion. Putting yourself first does not take away from others. It elevates everything you touch. This is why self-prioritization is not an indulgence. It is a discipline, a responsibility, and a lifelong practice. It is the quiet strength that supports every step you take and every person you help. When your foundation is strong, your entire life becomes stronger. And when you rise, everyone connected to you rises as well. Awareness is the quiet doorway through which every transformation must pass. Without it, change becomes nothing more than guesswork, effort becomes scattered, and growth turns into a cycle of repeated mistakes. You cannot change what you cannot see, and this is why awareness is the foundation of all personal evolution. As you enter 2026, clarity must be your starting point. Clarity about who you are, how you think, what you feel, and what patterns you keep repeating. Awareness is not dramatic. It does not arrive with noise or force. It arrives with stillness, with observation, with the courage to face yourself without judgment. To develop awareness, you must begin by watching your habits. Every day you act in ways that shape your identity even when you do not realize it. The way you start your morning, the way you react to stress, the way you speak to yourself, the way you respond to challenges, all these actions operate like invisible threads, weaving the story of your life. Most people move through their days without noticing these threads. They blame circumstances, people, or luck for the results they experience. But when you slow down and observe, you begin to understand that your life is built from the habits you repeat, not the wishes you hold. Awareness allows you to ask important questions. Why do I react this way? Why do I feel drained after certain conversations? Why do I procrastinate certain tasks? Why do I stay in environments that do not bring peace? These questions are not meant to create blame, they are meant to create understanding. Awareness shows you the roots behind your choices, and once you see the roots, you can begin to transform the tree. Emotional awareness is equally important. Many people carry unexamined emotions. Anger disguised as impatience, fear disguised as hesitation, sadness disguised as lack of motivation. When emotions are ignored, they control you from the background. But when you begin to observe them, you gain the power to respond instead of react. Emotional awareness does not mean suppressing your feelings. It means recognizing them clearly. It means understanding what triggers them, what strengthens them, and what patterns they create in your daily life. In 2026, Emotional clarity will be your compass. It will guide your decisions, your relationships, your work, and your personal goals. When you understand what you feel and why you feel it, you no longer get pulled into unnecessary conflict, self-doubt, or emotional confusion. You begin to respond with intention, rather than reacting automatically from old wounds or habits. Awareness also allows you to recognize your internal patterns, the behaviors, beliefs, and mental scripts that you repeat without noticing. Some patterns strengthen you: discipline, kindness, consistency, patience. Others limit you: avoidance, overthinking, self-criticism, and the habit of quitting before truly trying. Patterns are like loops. Without awareness, you live inside them. With awareness, you can step outside and choose a different direction. For example, if you become aware that you avoid difficult conversations, you can learn to face them with calmness. If you notice you always seek validation from others, you can learn to build internal confidence. If you observe that you tend to underestimate yourself, you can train your mind to focus on your abilities rather than your fears. Awareness does not instantly solve these patterns, but it opens the door to change. Without awareness, the door remains locked. Another important aspect of awareness is understanding how your environment shapes you. The people you spend time with, the spaces you occupy, the information you consume, and even the noise around you. All of these subtly influence your mood and your thoughts. When you are aware of this, you begin to choose your environment more intentionally. You choose conversations that uplift, goals that align with your purpose, routines that support your well-being, and habits that strengthen your discipline. Transformation becomes natural when your surroundings no longer pull you away from your path. Awareness also invites you to slow down. Modern life moves quickly. You rush through tasks, decisions, and emotions. But rushing blinds you from seeing the deeper layers of your life. When you slow down, even for a few minutes a day, you begin to notice your breath, your thoughts, your physical tension, your energy levels. This simple noticing opens space for reflection, and reflection opens space for change. Many breakthroughs in life happen not during action but during awareness, when you finally see what has been hidden in plain sight. Awareness is not a one-time achievement. It is a continuous practice. You do not become aware once. You become aware again and again each day with more clarity. The deeper your awareness grows, the more aligned your actions become. The more aligned your actions become, the easier transformation feels. Awareness sharpens your perception, strengthens your discipline, and stabilizes your emotions. It is the quiet force that guides you toward becoming the person you choose to be. Without awareness, you repeat the same year again and again. With awareness, 2026 becomes a new chapter, not because the calendar changed, but because you did. Awareness is the beginning of every breakthrough, every improvement, and every transformation. It is the first step because it shines light on the path ahead. When you see clearly, you move wisely. When you understand yourself, you no longer live on autopilot. And when you cultivate awareness daily, your life begins to shift in ways that feel intentional, grounded, and deeply empowering. Awareness is your foundation. And once the foundation is clear, strong, and stable, transformation becomes not just possible, but inevitable. Consistency is the silent architect of inner strength. It is not built in dramatic moments or grand declarations, but in the quiet discipline of daily actions. Actions so small they often go unnoticed, yet so powerful they reshape your identity over time. Many people wait for motivation, hoping that a surge of inspiration will transform their lives. But the truth is far simpler. Your future depends not on what you occasionally intend, but on what you repeatedly do. Consistency is the bridge between who you are now and who you want to become. Every habit you practice reinforces a part of your identity. When you wake up early, you strengthen discipline. When you train your body, you cultivate resilience. When you study, read, or practice a skill, you develop mastery. When you choose mindfulness, you cultivate calm. These actions may feel small in the moment, but each one is like a drop of water carving through stone. One drop does nothing, but repeated, steady drops reshape the surface. Consistency works in the same way, softly, quietly, repeatedly, until change becomes visible. People underestimate the power of small actions because they expect transformation to be immediate. They try something once or twice and abandon it when results don't appear quickly. But true inner strength is not built quickly. It grows like a tree, slowly, steadily, and silently under the surface before anyone notices. The roots deepen long before the branches appear. Your daily habits are these roots, giving stability to your future actions and decisions. Consistency also trains the mind to stay steady. When you commit to doing something every day, even when you don't feel like it, you develop mental discipline. You teach yourself that effort is not dependent on mood. This is powerful because emotions fluctuate, motivation fades, and circumstances shift. But consistency keeps moving forward. It is the discipline that carries you through days of doubt, stress, or fatigue. It teaches you to act not from impulse, but from intention. Inner strength grows when you make promises to yourself and keep them. Each kept promise builds trust in your own ability to follow through. Each broken promise weakens that trust. Many people feel lost not because they lack talent, but because they have learned to doubt themselves through repeated inconsistency. When you say you will do something and then avoid it, your mind remembers. But when you say you will do something and then follow through day after day, even in small ways, your mind begins to believe in your ability again. That belief becomes inner strength. Consistency also shapes your emotional resilience. When you repeatedly face small challenges every day, working out, reading, learning, meditating, you train your nervous system to stay stable under pressure. You become more patient, more focused, and less reactive. When a larger challenge appears, you are not shaken easily because your inner foundation is strong. You have trained yourself to stay steady, to continue forward, and to trust your capacity to handle difficulty. This is the deeper purpose of consistency. It does not just build skill, it builds character. Even in relationships, consistency has immense value. Being consistent in how you communicate, how you show up, and how you support others creates trust and stability. People feel safe around someone whose actions are steady and predictable in a positive way. But instability, showing up strongly one day and disappearing the next, creates uncertainty, both in your relationships with others and in your relationship with yourself. One of the greatest lessons in consistency is understanding that small is sustainable. Many people attempt huge changes, drastic diets, extreme workouts, long study hours, but they cannot sustain them. The effort collapses under its own weight. Lasting transformation comes from choosing actions small enough to maintain every day. 10 minutes of reading done daily is more powerful than 2 hours done once a week. 5 minutes of breathing practice done daily has more impact than a long session done occasionally. Small actions reduce resistance, making it easier to show up again and again. Consistency also requires honesty. You cannot be consistent in what you do not truly value. When you choose habits aligned with your goals and identity, showing up becomes easier. But when you chase habits that belong to someone else's expectations, consistency feels like a burden. This is why self-awareness and intention support consistency. They ensure you are walking a path that belongs to you. In moments of struggle, consistency teaches humility. You learn that progress is not always visible, and that growth sometimes happens silently. You learn to trust the process without demanding immediate results. You learn to value effort over perfection. This humility becomes strength because it stops you from giving up when you don't see progress right away. You begin to understand that every action counts, even when it feels insignificant. The true power of consistency is that it gradually changes your identity. When you consistently act with discipline, you become a disciplined person. When you consistently choose learning, you become a knowledgeable person. When you consistently take care of your health, you become a strong person. Identity is shaped through repetition. You do not become who you dream of being, you become who you repeatedly practice being. Over time, consistency creates momentum. Momentum creates confidence. Confidence creates inner strength, and inner strength creates a life that feels aligned and meaningful. Your future is built from your small daily choices. Not the choices you make once in a while, but the choices you make every day, even when no one notices, even when it feels slow, even when it feels ordinary. Those repetitive actions become the strongest force shaping your destiny. Consistency is not glamorous. It is not loud. It is not dramatic, but it is powerful beyond measure. And when you choose to commit to small daily actions, you are choosing to build a future grounded in strength, discipline, and unshakable inner stability. Protecting your energy is one of the most important commitments you can make to yourself. It is not about isolation or avoidance. It is about choosing wisely what you allow into the inner space of your mind, emotions, and daily life. Your energy is your life force. It shapes your decisions, your focus, your mood, your creativity, your relationships, and even your long-term direction. When your energy is scattered, everything feels harder. When your energy is steady, everything becomes clearer. This is why protecting your energy is equal to protecting your life. Every person you interact with influences you in some way. Some people encourage you, uplift you, and support your growth. Their presence feels light. Others drain you, confuse you, or create emotional heaviness. Their presence feels like weight. Awareness of this difference is essential. You do not need to cut people out of your life abruptly, but you do need to notice how each interaction affects your well-being. Protecting your energy means setting natural boundaries, limiting exposure to negativity, refusing to participate in drama, and choosing relationships that bring peace rather than constant tension. When your environment is stable, your mind becomes more stable. Your thoughts are another powerful source that shapes your energy. The mind can be your greatest ally or your biggest obstacle. If you constantly feed it with worries, comparisons, doubt, and fear, your inner world becomes chaotic. Negative thoughts drain energy faster than any physical activity. But if you choose thoughts that strengthen you, gratitude, clarity, courage, patience, your energy begins to rise. Protecting your mind means observing your thinking patterns and guiding them gently toward a healthier direction. You do not need to force positivity. You just need to avoid feeding what weakens you. The routines you follow each day are also a reflection of how you manage your energy. A routine that lacks intention leads to wasted time, scattered focus, and constant emotional fatigue. But a routine built around clarity, discipline, and self-care strengthens your entire system. Simple practices, breathing exercises, stretching, mindful pauses, intentional mornings, act as anchors that stabilize your energy throughout the day. When you begin and end each day with awareness, your life becomes more structured and your mind becomes more balanced. Your environment plays a silent but powerful role as well. The spaces where you live, work, and spend time carry emotional memory. Clutter creates mental fog. Simplicity creates mental calm. Noise drains energy. Silence restores it. Protecting your energy means designing your environment in ways that support clarity rather than chaos. Even small adjustments, cleaning your desk, organizing your room, reducing unnecessary notifications, can create a profound shift in how you feel internally. Another essential aspect of protecting your energy is learning to say no. Many people say yes out of fear. Fear of disappointing others, fear of being judged, fear of missing out. But every unnecessary yes drains energy from your life. When you say yes to something that does not align with your values, you say no to your own growth. Saying no is not rejection, it is self-respect. It is a way of honoring your time, your goals, and your emotional balance. The more you practice this, the more you protect your inner strength. Protecting your energy also means being honest about where your attention goes. Attention is one of the most valuable forms of energy. Every distraction, gossip, endless scrolling, irrelevant concerns takes a portion of that energy away. When your attention is divided, your power is divided. But when your attention is focused, your power intensifies. In the new year, your direction will depend heavily on where you place your attention. If you feed distractions, you will live a scattered life. If you feed purpose, you will move forward with clarity and confidence. Your physical energy is equally important. The body is the vessel that carries your mind and emotions, and when it is neglected, every area of your life suffers. Good sleep, balanced nutrition, movement and hydration are not luxuries, they are forms of protection. They shield you from fatigue, prevent overwhelm, and create stability from the inside out. When your body feels strong, your mind becomes sharper, and your emotional resilience increases naturally. Protecting your energy also involves protecting your emotional boundaries. You are not responsible for fixing everyone's problems. You are not an emotional storage space for the world. It is kind to help others, but it is unwise to sacrifice your mental well-being to rescue people who refuse to help themselves. Compassion does not mean carrying burdens that are not yours. True compassion includes caring for your own peace first, so you can give from a place of strength instead of exhaustion. In 2026, your direction will be shaped by what you allow into your inner world. Every thought you repeat, every routine you follow, every person you interact with leaves an imprint. If you do not protect your energy, the world will pull you in every direction. If you do protect your energy, you become the one who decides your path. Life becomes lighter when you stop absorbing unnecessary negativity. It becomes clearer when you limit distractions. It becomes more peaceful when you honor your boundaries. It becomes more powerful when you focus your attention on growth rather than noise. Protecting your energy is not about avoiding life. It is about engaging with life in a balanced, intentional, and grounded way. Your energy is your compass. Guard it with wisdom, and it will guide you toward a life that feels purposeful, stable, and deeply fulfilling.